A royal commentator has claimed that Prince Andrew has a sword of Damocles hanging over his head as his ongoing lawsuit risks impacting the reputation of the royal family. The comments come after US-based lawyers for the Duke of York acknowledged that he had been served with legal papers. Prince Andrew has been accused of sexually abusing an alleged Jeffrey Epstein victim, Virginia Giuffre, an allegation that he has consistently denied. Speaking on the True Royalty podcast, Dr. Tessa Dunlop claimed, "What's interesting is that it's a civil case, so it means that actually, he could just step away, but then they'll make the decision without him defending himself. H's got a sword of Damocles over his head, but the bigger picture, and if you read the American press, and I follow it quite closely, is this drip 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 that not only involves Andrew, but because HES, the Queen's second son, also engages the whole royal family, tarnishes their image and by implication, Britain's image too. This is a big deal." Prince Andrew's U.S. lawyers have recently acknowledged that the Duke has been served with legal papers alleging that he sexually abused Virginia Giuffre in 2001. Under the Hague Convention, lawyers must serve papers to the defendant in order for a court process to proceed. A dispute has been ongoing between lawyers for Ms. Giuffre and Prince Andrew, over whether the Duke had been formally notified of the civil case filed against him. During a teleconference with a New York judge on September 13, lawyers for Ms. Giuffre demonstrated evidence that they had tried to serve the papers to Prince Andrew through courier, email, postal services, and through a corporate investigator. Prince Andrew now has until October 29 to respond to the allegations. Virginia Giuffre is claiming that the prince sexually abused her on 3 occasions when she was 17 years old. The case alleges that this sexual abuse took place in the London home of Epstein associate of Ghislaine Maxwell, and twice in Epstein's homes in Manhattan and the U.S. Virgin Islands. Now 38, Ms. Giuffre is claiming damages for the significant emotional and psychological distress and harm caused by the Duke's actions. In court documents filed under New York's Child Victims Act, lawyers for Ms. Giuffre claimed, 20 years ago Prince Andrew's wealth, power, position, and connections enabled him to abuse a frightened, vulnerable child with no one there to protect her. It is long past the time for him to be held to account. Ms. Giuffre was one of the several women who came forward to accuse the billionaire sex offender Jeffrey Epstein of sex trafficking. The disgraced financier had been a former friend of Prince Andrew, although their friendship had been terminated in 2010. Jeffrey Epstein was arrested in 2019 and later committed suicide in prison. Prince Andrew has consistently denied all allegations made against him. In 2019, he gave an interview to BBC Newsnight, where he said the alleged abuse never happened. He told journalist Emily Maitlis, "It didn't happen. I can absolutely categorically tell you it never happened. I have no recollection of ever meeting this lady, none whatsoever." Following public backlash from the interview, Prince Andrew stepped down from public duties and ceased to represent the Queen during formal engagements. In a later statement, he said, "I continue to unequivocally regret my ill-judged association with Jeffrey Epstein. His suicide has left many unanswered questions, particularly for his victims, and I deeply sympathize with everyone who has been affected and wants some form of closure. I can only hope that, in time, they will be able to rebuild their lives. Of course, I am willing to help any appropriate law enforcement agency with their investigations, if required."